Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to learn about probability. What do you mean by this word probability? Probability means chances of something happening. Maths is about certain things. When I say maths is about certain things, that means 2 plus 2, you always know it's 4. 2 into 2, you always know it's 4. But probability is something that can happen, it cannot happen. There is a probable chances that it may happen, it may not happen. What may happen, what may not happen is called an event. Okay. Say, for example, if I have a child, I say, what is the chances that the child will come to school? So, this the event is the child coming to school. If the chance is certain, that means I'm 100% confident that the child is definitely going to come to the school. So I say probability, be mindful of the words that I am using. Probability of the event is certain. What was the event in my case? The event was child coming to school. And whenever you do probability, you name the event always as anything. So here I will name the event as A. So what is the probability of A? How do I write it? Probability of A. What is A? A is the event. Probability, chances of that event happening. Probability of something happening. Something is the event and we name the event as a variable. So probability of A. If the chances is 100%, you are 100% confident, it is certain. So then the probability of A is 1. If it is impossible that the child will not come only, then it is impossible. So probability of that event would be 0. Okay. So over here, what I'm trying to explain you is that A is the event. You will always have to name the event as A. And you are trying to find out probability of something happening, probability of the event happening, and we will name the event as A. So we are finding our probability of A. If the chance of the event happening is certain, you're very certain about it, then the probability of A would be 1. Say you have event A, flipping a coin. So probability of A, if you are very certain that if you flip a coin, only head will come, not possible. A tail can also come. So there are two sides of a coin, heads and tails. Either a head can come, either a tail can come. So the chances of head coming is 50%. The probability of A would be half, or I would say it is 50%. I'll go to this in detail little later. So my event A, we try to find the probability of event A. Event is something that is going to happen. So probability of event A, probability of A, student coming to 1. If the probability of A is 1, it means the event is certain. If the probability of event A is 0, that means it is impossible. So A would be my event of something, event chances of something happening. And if I would say A dash would be chances of something not happening. You should always remember that the total probability is always 1. If I say total probability is always 1, that means probability of event A, something happening, and the probability of something not happening, probability of A dash, is always equal to 1. Now let's do this on a probability scale. So my probability scale looks something like that, which starts with 0 and it ends with 1. Okay, this is my probability scale. If an event is certain to happen, you will put 1. If an event is not certain to happen, that means it is impossible to happen, you will put 0. If there are chances, that there are 50-50 chances that it is likely to happen, or it is not even likely to happen. Likely to happen, not likely to happen. The best example of this you would take is flipping a coin. So when you flip a coin, there are chances that you get heads or there are chances that you get tails. So the probability of H, it is likely to happen, not likely to happen. You can get a tail also. So that if there are 50-50% chances, so it would be half. One is certain to happen, 0 is impossible to happen, half is 50% chances of it happening. It's likely to happen, not likely to happen. Okay, so this is how you write the probability on a probability scale. You can also write probability, can convert it into percentages or decimals. 0, 0%. 1, 100%. Half means 0.5 or 50%. Any other event, if the probability comes between 0 and half on this side, so the probability of it happening is unlikely. And if it's over here, then the probability of it happening is likely. We will take with examples down. Now let's start this with some examples so that we are very clear. Steve spins a fair four-side spinner. I have a four-side spinner, and on the spinner, one side I have A, B, C, and C. So when I spin, anything could come in. Anything could come in. That means A could come, B could come, C could come, C could come. So the total number of options that I have available is either this side could appear 1, either this side could appear 2, either this side could appear 3, and either this side could appear 4. So number of possible outcomes. Okay. Total number of possible outcomes is how much? Is 4. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the spinner lands on A. How many A I have? So probability that the spinner would land on A, I have 1 A, and the total number of outcomes is 4. So the probability of, I would name the event as A, or probability of the event that the spinner lands on A is 1 by 4. 1 by 4, if I convert it into decimals, this would become 0.25. This is 50%. This is 0. This is 100%. So on the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the spinner would land on it would be somewhere 0.25 or 1 by 4. So over here, so it is unlikely that it would happen. Probability of the spinner landing on A is over here. Write down the probability that the spinner lands on C. So if I say I want to find the probability of the spinner landing on C, so what is the estimated? What is the total number of possible outcome is 4? And how many times I have say 2? So probability that the spinner lands on C is 1 by 2, or I would say 50%. So 1 by 2 or 50%. So this is how you do sums related to probability. Now we continue with this sum. And now I'm introducing you the formula. Probability that something happens, I would say probability of A. Probability of A is nothing but it is number of times it can happen, that is n of A, divided by number of times anything could happen, that is n of G. Okay, you need to now keep this in mind. And now we will solve using this formula. Sophie spins a fair-sided spinner. And in the spinner, you have these marked. On the probability scale, mark with the X probability that the spinner lands on 2. So I would say probability that the spinner lands on 2 is my event. So probability of A would be the number of times that A happens divided by the number of times that anything could happen. So probability of A is the number of times that my spinner lands on 2. So the number of times that the event could happen is 2 divided by the number of times anything could happen. Anything could happen is the total number of possible outcomes, that is 4. So the probability of A is half, that is 50%. So it is over here. Okay. So you have to keep this in mind. Probability that something happens is the number of times it can happen divided by the total number of possible outcomes or the number of times anything could happen. Write down the probability that the spinner lands on 4. Can you see any 4 over here? No. That means the event that is over here. What is the event that the spinner lands on 4? The probability of this event happening is 0. It is impossible. 0. Okay. Now let's do another sum. We will keep on repeating the terminologies. Write down the probability of an event. 1 minute, just give me a moment over here. Write down the probability of an event is marked with the cross on the possibility scale, probability scale. So here it is 50%, and they said they just want estimate. So 50% or half. It is as likely to happen as unlikely to happen 50%. Anything that is over here is unlikely to happen. That means between 0 to 50%. And anything that is over here, it is likely to happen. So now I have a list of 8 numbers. One of the number is chosen at random. Write down the probability that the number is 9. So this is an event. So probability of A. Probability of A, that means probability that the number is 9 is the number of times it can happen. How many times 9 can come? 1. Number of times it can happen? 1. Over the number of time anything happens, that means the total number of possible outcomes, that is 8. So you can write 1 by 8, or you can write it in decimals, 1 divided by 8, that is 0.125. Let's go ahead. There are 11 pens in a box. 11 pens in the box, that means this will be my total number of possible outcomes, that is n of G. 5 pens are red, 4 pens are blue, 2 pen is green. 1 pen is selected at random. Probability that the pen is green. So probability of an event happening is the number of pens that is green divided by the total number of pens. So it would be 2 by 11, or you can write it in decimal. That would become 0.1818 or 0.118. Yeah. Write down the probability that the pen is black. So probability that it happens is what? The pen is black. This would be an event. So probability of A, number of times it can happen. How many number of black pens you have? 0. There are no black pens, so this is impossible to happen. Okay. Let's take another example. ordinary fair dice is thrown once. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the dice lands on an even number. In a dice, probability the dice lands on an even number, this would be your event. Okay, so probability of A. What is my probability of A? It is the chances that the dice lands on an even number. Okay, so on a dice, how many sides do we have? A dice is, so how many sides do we have on a dice? We have 6 sides on a dice. Okay. On the dice, what is the total number of possible outcomes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dice lands on an even number. How many even numbers we have? 3. So number of times an even number could happen. Okay. Number of times an even number could come. That means n of A is how much? 3. Total number of possible outcomes, n of G, is how much? 6. So number of times that an even number can come is half of 50%. Write down the probability that the dice lands on a number less than 3. So how many numbers you have less than 3? You have 2 numbers less than 3. So probability that the dice lands on a number less than 3 is number of times it can happen. So numbers less than 3 divided by total number of possible outcomes, that is 6. So this is 1 by 3. Or I could say this is 0.33. So on a probability scale, it will be over here. Okay, it will be over here, and it is unlikely that you get a number less than 3. This wanted across. Now I want you to pause the video and try this. So here I have an ordinary fair dice that is thrown once. How many times you are doing it, that is called the trial. Okay. What is the total number of possible outcomes when the ordinary dice is thrown? So in a dice you have 6 sides. On n of G would be 6. Probability that the dice lands on 10. Now think and tell me, are there any chances that the dice would land on 10? What are the number of sides that you have on a dice? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 10 cannot come. So it is 0. What is the probability that the dice lands on number greater than 3? So chances of it landing on the greater than 3 is number of times you have numbers greater than 3, number of times it can happen, divided by number of times anything could happen. So it would be 1 by 3. So 1 divided by 3, or I would say number of the total number of outcomes. So it will become 0.33. Come on over here. Do it yourself. Pause, do, then come back. Mark with a cross probability that dice lands on number less than 7. See, all the numbers on the dice are less than 7. So 6, so number of times you can have a number that is less than 7 divided by the number of times anything happens, 6. So this thing is certain to happen. So the probability that the dice lands on the number less than 7, or I would say the probability of A, is 100%. So it is certain. So it is 1. Write down the probability that the dice lands on 5. This is an event. Dice lands on 5. Probability of A is the number of times 5 can come. So 1 time 5 can come and divided by the total number of possible outcomes. So it is 1 by 6. Or I would say This is 0.166 or 0.167. Okay, 0.167. Let's go ahead. Sam spin 0.167. If I divide it by 100, it is 16%. So it is still unlikely to happen. Sam spins a fair eight-sided spinner. This is the spinner. Probability that it lands on A. This is the event. Probability that it lands on A would be the number of times I have A. Number of times it can happen, or I would say number of times I have A. How many times I have A? 3 divided by the total number of outcome, that is 8. So 3 by 8, or I would say it is 0.375. I'll take you to the next question. Now I'll go a bit faster. Raffle buys one raffle ticket. You can pause, try, come back. Pause, try, come back. Pause, try, come back. This should be your practice. Total 250 raffle tickets are sold. He buys one raffle ticket. One of these tickets will win. Each ticket has equal chances of winning. Write down the probability that raffle's ticket will win. So, what is the chance that you would raffle number of raffle tickets raffle has is 1 divided by the total number of tickets. So, what is the chance that you get a raffle is going to win would be 0.4%. Okay, 1 divided by 250 into 100 would give you 0.4%, or you could say 1 divided by 250 is 0.004. Probability that raffles ticket will not win. Okay, so probability that his ticket would not win is 249, because 1 is the chance of his ticket coming, probability of A, and probability of A dash that he would not win. So out of 250, 1 is his chance. 249, it's not happen. It cannot happen. So 249 divided by 250. So probability that his ticket will not win the raffle is 249 divided by 250. Probability of Barry winning a match is 3 by 8. Write down the probability that he does not win the match. So out of 8 turns, there is 3 turns. It's a probability that he wins. So that he will not win will be how much? Total number of outcomes minus of the chances that it can happen. So the chances that it will not happen will be 5 by 8. Pause, try, come back. This is the practice you should follow. So let's do the next part. Probability of Timmy winning a tennis match is 0.7. So probability of Timmy winning a tennis match plus probability of him not winning the tennis match, it will sum up to 1. 1 is the total number of possibilities. So if him winning is 0.7, so him not winning is probability of A dash which would be 1 minus 0.7, or it would be 0.3. So here we have started applying the formula probability of A plus probability of A dash. Let's move ahead. There are 26 sweets in a bag. Total number of outcomes. 15 are red, rest are white. So what is rest? Rest would be 26 minus 15. So 11 is white. One of the sweet is taken at random. Find the probability that the sweet is red. The chances of red coming is 15. out of the total number of sweets. So 15 divided by 26 to 0.576 chances that the sweet is red. Find the probability that the pen is red. 30 pens in a box, so the total number of outcomes is 30. From the 30, 12 is black, 7 is green, rest is red. So I would say 30 minus 12 minus 7, 11 would be red. So chances that the pen is red is 11 divided by 30. So it is 0.37. Let's go ahead. There are 53 counters in a box. I'll bring the calculator for you all. There are 53 counters in a bag. Okay, total number of counters are 53, of which 15 are red. So I'll do minus 15 are red. So the rest are blue. So what is the rest? The rest is 38. One counter is taken at random. Find the probability that it is blue. So it would be chances of blue coming divided by the total number of counters. So it will be 38. 38 divided by 53. So this would be 0.716 or 0.72. Draw is being held to win prize. Bruce buys 17 tickets. So 17 is the chances of him winning over 350. So what is the chance of not winning the prize? So from 350, if you remove 17, you get chances of not getting the prize. So 333 over 350 is the chance of not winning. 333 divided by 350, this would give us 0.95. 8 marbles in a bag. 1 marble is selected at random. Find the probability that it is red. Number of red marbles divided by total number of marbles. So 4 divided by 8. This is 0.5. 0.5 is here. Marble is yellow. There are no yellow marbles, so this is impossible to happen. Marble is blue. 3 blue marbles out of 8 marbles. Number of blue marbles divided by total number of marbles. So 3 divided by 8 is 0.375. Now we have some numbers. One card is selected at random. Number 8. How many 8s we have? 2. Total number of cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 by 7. Probability that it is odd number. How many odd number we have? 1, 2, 3. So probability that it is an odd number would be 3 by 7. Probability that the counter is green. How many green? 3. What is the total number of counters? I will add all of this. So it will be 7 plus 2 plus 5 plus 3. Total number of counters is 7. Counter is not blue. So counter is blue will be 2. So not blue will be 17 minus 2. So counter is not blue is 15 over 17. Write down the probability that Charlie takes a white chocolate. So white chocolate, we have number of white chocolates 7 divided by total number of chocolates. What is the total number of chocolates? I will just add all the chocolates together. 11 plus 5 plus 7. Total number of chocolates is 23. The reason I'm going fast is that you should watch all the videos together and then just come and check. Probability that the counter will be green. It's very easy over here. I've been given the color, I've been given the probability. I know that the total probability is 1. If I know that the total probability is 1 and I have been given probabilities of all these three things, so probability that I have a green counter. So it would be 1 minus 0.2 minus 0.4 minus 0.3. So it is 0.1. So this is how we have been doing our sums of probability, and we have covered that probability of something happens or probability that an event will happen is what? Probability that an event happens is number of times that event is there divided by number of time anything happen. And I also know that probability of an event happening plus not happening would sum up to 1. With this, I cover the basics of probability. Now we will do two-way table in the next video.